Okay, good afternoon, consumer behavior classes. Jeff Myers talking to you from our beautiful classroom on the third floor of Building K at our North Campus. I teach the Business 110 in a couple hours in this classroom, so I thought before I do that, I talk a little bit about consumer behavior, what exactly it is, and especially why it is so important that students understand this topic along with personal finance. If you're in my class that meets live on Teams, some of this may be redundant, but I still hope that you're listening and reviewing. For my other class that's strictly online, consumer behavior is the reason why you and I buy things. And consumer behavior is fairly a new discipline that falls under the marketing umbrella, and it's really an extension of what's called marketing research. Marketing research has a lot of math and hypotheses test and define the results and a lot of statistics. But consumer behavior is more about the psychology of what makes you and I buy things typically that we don't need, or buy more of it, or buy more often. And there's many, many, many reasons that help us, or many ways that marketers use to get us into debt. So it's a fascinating topic. The book, honestly, is a little bit dry. There's a lot of terminology. I remember reading it the first time I got it 7 years ago or 8 years ago, and it was brutal. So really important that you watch the videos that I attach to the weekly lessons so that in each lesson you're getting something out of it that by the end of this course you say, well, yeah, I kind of know a lot about what goes into consumer behavior. So we know what it is. Why is it important that you take it today in August of 2020? Why is it more important today than it was even a year ago? Think about that for a second. Why is this class vital to your success moving forward? The answer is easy. This class is going to keep you out of debt, because you're going to discover how easily you have been manipulated into buying more things than you need, or buying the expensive things to show off, to keep up with the Joneses, to be social. And so what we have to do is understand the reasons we buy, and then get a hold of who we are and make sure that we're smart about marketing tactics that are out there to get us to buy more. So, I mean, what's going on right now, and we talked about it in my other class, we have a lot of people who have no money. We have a lot of people who are in line for free food during the pandemic because they don't have $100 to buy groceries for the next week. We're talking in the tens of millions of Americans who I see on the news every night in line for 3, 4, 5 hours with their trunks popped open for boxes of donations. And unfortunately, a lot of the cars that I see on the news have some pretty high car payments and some high lease payments. So if you don't have $100, $200 to sustain you till Friday, you don't understand consumer behavior. You shouldn't be driving an Audi, a BMW, a brand new Camry. You should make sure that you're living within your means. And marketing, as much as I love it, is so good in the United States that it has put all of us, well, not all of us, but a good majority of the population in debt. And debt ain't good, because what goes along with debt is your credit score being low. And there's a few things today that I really want you to understand about a credit score and what a bad credit score will do for you. What is a credit score? It's a 3-digit number. It's who you are to the outside world. It's who you are to the businesses that are going to loan you money or sell you a product. I'm a 3-digit number, and that number can be as high as 800 or as low as 400 or 350. I'm not sure how low. But the highest number is 850. And I don't know how they got to 850, but that's a high number. And so if you have a low credit score, you're going to pay a lot more for things that people with higher credit scores pay. For example, a car loan. If you got a good or great credit score right now, there's a lot of deals where you can buy a car, get a 5, 6, or 7 year loan, 0%. So if you get a 0% loan on a car that costs 25 grand, you paid 25 grand. Now there's people that get a car loan for 25 grand that get a loan amount of 5.99% or 7.99% or 13.99% and higher. By the end of the 5 years, that person with the lower credit score is paid thousands of dollars more for the car than I did at 0%. So one of the bad things is you pay more. And I don't know if you've ever held 5 grand, in $10, $20 bills, but that's a lot more. That's a lot of money. And so we need to keep our credit score as high as possible so we can get those 0% deals on a car. We can get a lower interest rate on a house, on a mortgage. We can get you're not paying 21.99% at Best Buy or Kohl's. You should see, a lot of us don't even know what the interest rate is on a credit card. I mean, it's not that, I don't think it's that we don't care. It's that we haven't taken a class, personal finance, to go along with consumer behavior, and then we're in debt. Here's another bad thing. If you're in debt, you get collection calls. There's 160,000 collection agents, and they'll track you down. And if you don't answer the phone or you disconnect your phone number, they'll call your spouse or they'll call somebody you know, or they'll call your employer and reveal the debt. Now, technically it's illegal, but it happens all the time. So you don't want to be in debt. Now, if you have a low credit score or you're in debt and it's reflective on the credit score, what happens when the mortgage company does your loan and looks at your credit score? What happens now when the apartment wants to rent you an apartment and you got a bad credit score? They ain't going to give you the rent. They ain't going to give you the space. So now you're stuck at home at mom and dad's. This is what's going on. There's tons and tons of kids or young adults who can't get out of the house because they can't buy a house. And then the worst thing that's happened since 2008 with people with low credit scores is that 80% of companies run background checks. And what comes up on the background check? Your credit score. And they make the decision not to hire you. And yeah, that's what they do. So really 4 really bad things. Here's the problem. In my classes, I would say 80% of you have no clue what your credit score is. And I would say there's even a high percent or a higher percent that don't even know what a credit score is. I mean, it's something that we should know in 8th grade because it follows us through our life. Life is a lot easier for people with high credit scores. It's really tough with people that don't have good credit scores, that don't understand money, that don't understand what debt will do to your day-to-day life, let alone to mention a pandemic. I mean, you've heard save up for rainy days. Well, a pandemic is like a typhoon coming every day. It's a bad situation out there. So this is a very important class so that it helps you stay out of debt. And once you take this class and get a good foundation of it, then you need to take personal finance and understand how to start growing your money versus just letting it sit around. First thing is you have to stay out of debt before you can even start saving. So really important chapter, or really important topic overall, the psychology of what makes you buy. There's a lot of things from lighting to colors to smells to crowding to peer pressure to conformity that gets us to have to buy. There's 150 reasons why we do buy things. We're bored, impulse purchases, we're addicted. We buy because we can. We buy to make our lives better. We buy for guilt. We buy to give back to someone that's bought us a gift. We buy for holidays. We buy to impress. We Buy for Hope. This goes on and on and on. So hopefully by the end of the course, you're going to have some sort of foundation that you'll take it further. And that's really my attempt in this class, is to give you that foundation. So that's all I have for today. And thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.